Yeah, maybe very quickly to my person. I've joined ESCO about 17 years ago. Like Jan, I started in customer service. Like Jan, I became a product manager, but I don't think that I will make it to a marketing director. So, my background is rotogravure, so I'm coming from this pretty heavy printing technology with a lot of dedicated prepress, high quality prepress, I would call it. And also I'm at ESCO, I'm challenged with finding new ways and getting people excited when they do their job. And this is what we're trying to do with definitely our new generation of graphic editors. But what I'm trying to do now is a little bit different. We had the very high level from Jan and the nice explanations from Isidor. I'd like to try to go into the middle and connect everything a little bit with some theory. It's not heavy theory, but I hope it will make sense for you. Some of you already are a step forward on the digital journey or the journey of digitization. Some of you may be not that far, and I hope I can make some sense here for you. As we heard, we all would like to become more efficient. More efficient means getting more job done with the amount of people I have and with the skills those people have. So we can use, yeah. And well, we could translate this to getting more jobs done per head count, meaning my work has to flow better. I don't want jobs to ping pong between departments because things are unclear. No, as little as possible touches to a file until it makes it to press. And of course, this without introducing the risk of lowering the quality. To the contrary, we would like to abandon rejections. Yeah, I want less waste, not more, just by making the workflow more simple and increasing efficiency. Our tagline is at ESCO since a couple of years already is digitize, automate, and connect. But looking at the increase of efficiency, we see four aspects, you can call them, or building blocks, which I would like to use in my presentation and explore together with you. The first one is centralization. The second, standardization, integration, and finally, automation. These dimensions are interconnected. You can focus on one area, but I'm sure that you get the most out of the system when you connect them all together. Let's have a look at centralization. When I've been a prepress manager, there was a rule, and we called it the Highlander rule. Maybe some of you still know the movie from Duncan MacLeod. There can only be one. There can only be one file we're working on. The moment you duplicate the file, there are chances that somebody's going to pick it and you print or produce the wrong asset, or you don't have the latest change, and so on. But it's not only the artwork, or it's not only the file that you produce, it's also the resources. So call it the ingredients that your team is using to produce a job. Yeah, the workflows, templates, fonts, marks, everything, they need to work on one version. There can only be one single source of truth. And this is the goal of centralization. It's not limited to assets. It's actually applying to any information that you have in the system. And if you, by now, have many people working from home, or you need to produce jobs across sites, centralizing the information, the business information, is equally important. If you are such a multi-site or maybe even an international company, your ultimate goal is load balancing. You don't want on one side people rolling their thumbs, where another side is under heavy load and people have to do overtime. You want to work, you want to balance that workload and very freely move it from one side to the other, so there can again only be one single source of truth, which needs to be on a central point. Next to all those efficiency improvements we can achieve with centralizing those items, there's an economical factor to this as well. If you can centralize your IT infrastructure on a single location, you can save tremendous IT cost. You can much easier deploy new solutions and software, and of course the all-over maintenance of a centralized system is much more affordable. The second aspect was standardization. Probably the reason why you would standardize. You want to have less variation to produce less risk to introduce an error. You want your team to work in the same way, to be sure that the product that you deliver is always consistently good in quality and delivery. Yeah, but you're right, McDonald's is very flat. Order, even ordering is done by the customer today. Yeah, you go onto a terminal, you pick up your food. So it's a pretty shallow organization that they need to standardize. But still, making people working the same way. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if Peter, Tom, or Erika is working on the job, I am sure that the outcome is the same. Which takes us to quality. Quality can also be standardized by, for example, pre-flight, or compare tools, or the automated quality tools that we have in Automation Engine. You can standardize quality. But we're not as flat as McDonald's. You have no control over the quality of files and information coming in. You have to chase it. But still, there are concepts in Automation Engine, for example, or Web Center, that help you to automatically make decisions based on conditions. No need to go and visit a colleague or a department to get an information. They can be involved in the communication of a certain job by standard. Milestones, triggering a request to a colleague for information fully automatically. So yes, there's great potential, even though the businesses that you are in are way more complex than just making burgers. That takes us to integration. I think ESCO has a long way back when it comes to integration. And it's on two levels. I will try to explain those two by inverted model or inverted example. Imagine we would not have integrated Automation Engine and Web Center, and I would want to get an approval from a customer. That would require your prepress department to send a mail or make a PDF available to your CSR and wait for the CSR to have time to pick up that PDF file and send it to the customer. There the PDF is waiting for the customer to read the mail. Then getting some feedback or the approval goes back to the CSR. Again waiting till the CSR is reading the mail and formatting the decision of the customer to the prepress department, which then can continue. So many points of waiting time, a lot of inventory we call it, and it all takes time. So with integration, meaning connecting different systems internally or externally with my system, I can become much more efficient. And the two levels that ESCO has experiences in is, it is the communication itself, so our integration services where we work industrialized with connecting to global ERP or MIS systems, but also individual. If you have a home room system that you want to integrate with automation engine, we can do this as well. But the second layer is that the different technologies that you want to integrate. Let me take another example. You are a CSR at a folding carton converter, and the customer is asking you for a quote. You would need to talk to a person in prepress to understand the work needed there, probably get a layout, which is the best and most economical layout you can produce that job with. You need to talk to people in the technical department, and so on and so on. But for surely you have to visit the structural department to discuss the shape, layout again, and so on. So if we would integrate an Adios CAD engine with your CSR environment, you can do that query yourself. You don't have to talk to a specialist. You become a specialist in this very little area. You don't have to operate Adios CAD, no. But you can take the technology and the experience to get the information you need to make that quote much faster. So the power of integration is to not only not re-entering any data, no, remove inventory and eliminate the waiting time in between those different departments when getting information. So centralization, standardization, integration, that's the perfect source for automation. And if we look at the level of the different of automation within a printer converter environment, but not only there, also in a trade shop area, we see much more automation on the production floor than we see in prepress. Yeah, there is machinery, it's mechanical. If it works, if it gets a standardized input, it can deliver standardized output. But that's not true for the prepress department. As I said, there are so many variations coming in. And very often we hear, yeah, you can't automate 100% of all files. And you are right. But that's no reason to not think about automation and put the progress in front of just being perfect. We always can improve and make the work that is at hand faster and more efficient. Another argument that we hear when it comes to automation is that we have so much work to do, we have no time to automate. And there's a very, I see a smile here, there's a very nice quote from Abraham Lincoln. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I will use the first 4 hours to sharpen the axe. It's a choice. If you want to automate and make a better environment, working environment, and make it easier and less skill intense, or if you just want to work on that single job and get your 5, 6, 7 jobs out of the door that day. It is funny, often we hear those arguments from operators or team leads, and the same group of people in different companies are the drivers for automation. They just got the switch of, I really like to work smarter instead of harder. Yeah, so the experience is from the same people to build up efficient workflows and automate things, but often it's the mindset that stays in the way. What means automation? Again, I'm going back to, you get so many different files in that you may think, I can't do anything on this huge spectrum of different files. It can be a PowerPoint file, it can be a fully print-ready file from a print agency. So how do you want me to automate here? Automation does not need to go from the very beginning to the very end. You can automate parts in between. And this is what we're trying to do with concepts like, for example, the action lists, or pre-flight. Let's start with pre-flight. Yeah, just help me understanding how print ready the job is that I have here, and find me the mistakes and help me correcting them. So it's more an assistant than an automation. And for action lists, I don't need to be a programmer. I am a normal operator. The clicks that I do in my application, I now remake them as an action list, and I can rerun those action lists on maybe the 7 flavors that I received from a cert design. So I actually only work once and repeat what I've done on the files that are coming. But it's not, again, limited to files. The if-then routines, the routing, milestones, and so on, can also automate the communication between people, and you can even employ your customer, for example, with share and approve solutions or Web Center, that you get much faster and better responses and can use those in your workflow to make decisions.